Hey, crew. Hello, friends. Who's making all that noise? Is that Frank? That's the professor.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Doing good, sir. And you?
I'm doing okay. Good to see you.
Excellent.
Hey, Mr. Professor, good to see you. And
Hello.
hello.
I was getting a parcel, so I had to run away.
A parcel?
A letter. I had to sign for a letter.
Isn't it the best time of the day when UPS or FedEx shows up? You never know what you're going to... I order so much garbage, I forget what I'm getting. And
depends if it's a bill or a toy.
No, you're right. If it's a bill, yeah, not so much fun. Pete, how are you?
Wall to wall and treetop tall.
Wow.
How's things going?
That I haven't heard before.
It's an old radio broadcast saying I got from another disc jockey I know.
Wall to wall and tree talk tall. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Mr. Mobley. Hey there. Good to see you too. Let's see who else is here. I think that's it for right now. We're a small crew. And Mike, at a certain point, I'm gonna dump host on you or someone else, only because it's my daughter's birthday, and I have been put in charge of picking up all of her little girlfriends, and because my wife is at home with COVID, so I have to. I'm on daddy duty tonight. So
no problem.
After about an hour or so, but I'm not sure there's all that much to talk about. Frank, I looked at the link that you shared for the tickers. I'm talking as if everyone knows what I'm talking about. I apologize. Let me actually pull it up for you so you can see. I don't know if you've played with it at all, but Frank, or if you were just dumping it here for the rest of us.
I haven't installed it, or used it, but I thought it looked promising for people who do vMix or other kinds of things.
Yeah. Now I have no idea where it is. Where do you remember what channel you put it in?
General under technology, I think.
General, yeah, that's what I thought too. External links, no.
In our Discord, for all those people listening out there, join our Discord.
Yes.
And since you're in the Discord, why don't you get the invite?
General. Here, I got it. Okay.
Put it in the chat.
Oh, you know what? See, that's why we call him the professor.
I really think that's a disservice to some of the people who come here who are actual professors.
Yeah, no, you're probably right about that. I apologize for that. So there's your invite. If for whatever reason Tony or Pete you're not in, if you're watching on YouTube, I don't know if you want to throw that in.
Yeah, Mike, I'll copy that over.
Yep. That's awesome. All right, so here's this ticker. Oh Lord, hold on, I've got to press this button again. Press the button, then it'll work. All right, so here comes, there we go. So this is called justaticker.com, is it? Yeah, I think justaticker.com.
Okay.
And it's literally just a ticker. So what'll happen is when you click on create a ticker, you put your email address in, it will then send you a little thing. Let me pull up just a ticker because I already did this. Here we go. It will send you a ticker URL with a password that goes along with it. I'll just copy that and pop that over there. Now I already had this open, so that's why. So now I can create, let's say, welcome to the Zoom test kitchen. So now, let's see. Can I do anything with that? Publish. Well, that didn't seem to do much at all, did it? Wait a second. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Sorry, there it is. All right. So now edit layout. So I can change the colors. So what color? What are our colors? I don't even know. What are the test kitchen's colors?
Gold and blue or something?
Gold and blue. All right. So let's see if we can do like a. Let's do a font. No, let's do the ticker itself. So we're going to do kind of like a goldy type of thing here, maybe.
Is there an eyedropper?
Yeah, probably. Is there? No, there actually isn't.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Know your
That's all right. That's
Gotta
all
know
right.
your gotta know your hex numbers,
Yeah.
hex
Yeah.
letters.
Slow, medium, fast. All right. So now what happens? So now I come over here, up here to open viewer. And when I click on open viewer, it's going to, I guess, give me my ticker. So now,
I think you can set it up to a easier color to key through as well.
yeah. So let's actually,
Chroma or Luma.
Yep.
right. So now, hold on. So now I'm going to, yeah. So it didn't automatically key out the white. It didn't give me a what do you call it, background.
I was pretty sure when I read about it, it said there was a way to set it up before you go live, so that that black thing could probably be a different color, maybe. I don't know for sure, but anyways, the idea is you would key through, and only the ticker would be.
Oh, wait a second. Viewer background. What's that? No.
There's lots of these on the internet, but this one's free. It looked very promising, and right now it doesn't read from a like a data source, like an Excel file or something, but the people behind this are working on it or thinking about it anyways. So
here's the only thing. Here's what I'll say. If you know how to add, first of all, you can't just add this to Zoom. Like you can't just do it natively. You'd have to throw it into OBS or something like that. If you're already using a tool like that, don't you have this stuff built into that tool? I'm just not sure. I mean, maybe Mike, does I assume OBS has tickers and stuff, don't they?
They do, but not very. They will have something fairly basic like what you are seeing right now with this. But again, if you want to get more sophisticated, then you would get into the one that actually you showed us, I think, David, last week, which was the one when you had your graphic up about the weather.
Oh yeah.
That is that.
So that's right.
I'm trying to remember the company.
Yeah, that's overlays.uno.
Right. Yes. Uno. Yeah.
Right. So here's that one. So overlays and on overlays.uno, you can also do a scrolly ticky thing. I mean, you're right. I agree with you, Frank. It's cute. Part of me feels like for anyone who's going to use a tool like this, they have to know enough to be able to use something. Sorry, let me try that again. If someone's going to use a tool like this, they're going to know enough to use a tool that's a bit more sophisticated than this. And so that's my only question about it, right? Because it can't integrate natively for the peons.
I just thought it was interesting, and it was free, so it was just something to talk about in Discord.
No, absolutely. There was one new thing this week. My voice is delayed. That's par for the course. My mind is delayed. There was one new thing today, and that is that Zoom Cuts got an update. So this is release 1.0.5 for Zoom Cuts. Now, for those of you who remember, for like 2 months solid, I was doing the entire show through Zoom Cuts because, it was new. So I'm going to use it. I've since gone back to the vanilla client because there are lots of things that I use in the vanilla client that are not yet available in Zoom Cuts. Having said that, here is, sorry, I'm getting buzzed. Here's what's new. So navigating actions for breakout rooms, as well as access to captions, and it uses a more recent meeting SDK version. So that's always great when it's able to keep up with the SDK. So you can now join breakout rooms. You can join a specified breakout room. And I imagine, I have not played with it, and so I apologize for that. But if you've been assigned a room, then calling that action will just put you into that room. If you haven't been assigned, I have to imagine that it will work the same way as when you don't identify who you want to, say, spotlight. What'll happen is Zoom Cuts will bring up a picker for you of everyone who's in the meeting, and then you can click on who you want to spotlight. You can leave breakout room, close captions history, enable, disable, toggle closed captions, live transcription, same thing. You can configure your audio and video now using the device name instead of the ID to perform matching. So interestingly, the last update was, I want to say it was back in August. It was am I right about that? Yeah, August 22nd was the last update. So they're slowly but surely, this is growing and becoming something. It looks exactly the same as far as, the UX and the UI, as far as I could tell, at least. Let me open it up while I'm thinking about it. Cuts, just so we can take a look at it.
All right, while David's doing that, I'll say hi, Robert and Ray, watching us on YouTube.
Hey, Robert and Ray. Oh, see, Mike told me to say that, but I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, Mike. I say your chat now. Yeah, so here is, let's actually join this meeting. And we'll call this Zoom Cuts and Z Kitchen. Yes, I will allow the host to unmute me, and I don't need to see that all the time, but let's change the camera to this. That's a slightly more flattering. It's a better camera, and I just got the beep beep that I want to come in. All right, so now AI Companion is on, got it on, and I'm not going to join audio. I do not want to join audio, go away, I know. Okay, so this is, let me change this to gallery. Maybe we can get rid of that. There we go. So this is this is it. And like I said, it's not, it's not all that different. Oh, wait a second. Is that new? Look at the bottom of my client and the Zoom Cuts client. Do you see what's right here? There's a notes button. Is that new? I had not seen that. It's in the vanilla client also. Notes is not enabled for my account. So because I'm on Zoom Cuts, I guess.
I see it on my own here, the notes.
That I have not seen before.
Create a note.
Well, oh my goodness, check that out. And it opens up the pop-up. Well, what do you know? What do you know? So this, oops, wait a second, press the wrong button. So here it is in this meeting. So when it's actually, when you click on the notes button at the bottom, you get this little sidebar guy here. I have all my sidebars pop out. So that's why I imagine if you don't do that, then it would just show up as a sidebar with the Zoom meeting. And then here are all my notes, recent, my, shared, starred. Huh. The UI completely changes depending on if you have it in panel mode or, well, not, I'm not sure what it's called. Small mode or large mode.
Responsive design.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I have not seen that button down there before. And there was no update. I didn't see any update to Zoom. So that, I don't know, maybe that was just like on the back end or something. Nice. And it's in Cuts also, so that's nice. But like I said, just getting back to the Cuts thing, there's nothing new that I could see, or that I can see right here. So show chat previews, record, companion captions. Yeah, there are still a bunch of things in here that I don't have. Maybe I shouldn't say a bunch. There are some things that I don't have access to in here. In any case, that is Cuts. What else is going on for people? Anything exciting? I was thinking the other day. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Pete's been busy. I know that for a fact.
With just work, Pete?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it after the broadcast.
No, tell us about it now. You don't want to tell us now?
I really can't.
Okay, fair enough.
I think
Go ahead,
there's gonna.
David.
Sorry. I think there's gonna be a Zoom update, a small one, in the next 2 or 3 days.
Oh yeah.
I did see release notes that were saying
The 19th.
19th. Yep.
Yeah. So one of the things I think that's going to change is the Zoom logo.
Really?
Yep.
Ooh, that's kind of exciting. And
I think I think it's been a long time coming. A lot of people are upset that Zoom's using the Z in Canada. We say Z instead of Z because of the war in Ukraine. So it's going to be
wait.
Z-
You're gonna have to explain that. I'm a little dense. I
The-
apologize.
the Russian forces in the Ukraine-Russian conflict war, whatever you want to call it, paint the letter Z. It's sort of like the modern version of a swastika.
Oh my goodness. I
So
had no
there's
idea.
there's been a lot of complaining by various, not complaining might not be the right word, but people have been pointing out that it's insensitive to use the same logo as the Russians. So the new logo that I saw is a Z and I think a small M or something.
Wow. I had no idea. That's fascinating. Thank you for that.
There's going to be an Outlook patch. There's been some issues with Outlook, the plugin or add-on. I always get the two confused.
Yeah, Outlook
Like it's-
add. They call it's interesting. They call it add-in.
Add in.
It's not an add-on. It's not a it's an Outlook.
Well, there's two. There's two. One's depreciated. I think add-ons were depreciated and add-ins, or the other way around. I always get it confused.
Yeah, let's see. There's a new and enhanced. Well, here let's just. I mean, might as well walk through it, right?
Sure.
So a new support channel type has been created, emitting events that brands can listen to, allowing them to continue the support escalation process with their preferred CRM and UI. This feature this is the virtual agent. Sorry.
Yeah. If you,
Release notes for the virtual agent. I'm sorry. Why did
I
no
don't-
one say anything to me? Like, come on,
we
guys.
didn't get a chance.
If
If you scroll down, I think the add-in part is
Yeah.
next.
So the add-in is here, Outlook add-in, Swedish language support, enable auto start meeting summary and meeting query. Is meeting query, is that, tell me what's been happening. Is that the AI thing? Anyone know?
I don't know what meeting query is exactly, but yeah, I think there's going to be a tie into the AI companion stuff in the Zoom Outlook.
By the way, when there was, I don't remember if it was last week or this week, but more than a couple of times I've seen pretty significant issues come across in there. You know, when we get emails related to companion, to AI companion recently. I'm not sure what it's been about.
I know that from watching their service emails to see if things have been out of service and if there's been incidents reported. I know there has been quite a few AI companion based issues that have been come up that have been resolved fairly quickly, but have been coming up.
And then there's an issue where Zoom for Outlook add-in was unable to recognize the previously scheduled meeting. That seems like a big one. Users are experiencing a prompt to open a new window when scheduling a meeting via add a Zoom meeting after signing in. The meeting, okay, yada, 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 okay? And then the domain field in Outlook web was consistently empty. Maybe I'm just blessed that I don't have to use Outlook. I do not understand using Outlook.
If you work for a corporation or a large entity, you probably have to use it.
You do. I absolutely.
The other thing that's happening if you're part of a large organization is Zoom SSO certificates may need to be updated depending on what your authentication system uses.
What does that process look like to update a certificate?
Mike could probably answer that better than I could.
If we're talking on a Windows domain, I'm not the best. When it comes to Unix/Linux-based machines, basically what you would have to do is, again, depending on your certification or certificate registrar that you're using, if you're doing a self-cert or if you're actually doing shall we call it, a notarized certificate. So we're talking about SSL certificates here. Basically, you would have to go through, like VeriSign was the original guys back, again, showing my age in the internet, which is 20-ish years ago. So, VeriSign thought were the two big guys. Now there's, you can get it pretty much anywhere. You get a domain name. Nowadays, you can get an SSL cert for your hosting website and such. But the big one that is out right now for that actually is SSL based, that is free. It'll come to me, the name, unless Frank has it on the tip of his tongue. But basically there is actually a way to get free SSL certificates through that company, and they will. But again, you have to keep. They keep asking for updates every so many months. But when it comes to the SSO that Frank is talking about, that is more between Zoom themselves and your infrastructure internally. So that would be between what, in the Windows world, that would be between the Active Directory server locally that would have to then get the latest certificates from Zoom and match them up so that there is a handshake capability that allows the encryption to actually occur, especially for signing on to using into the Zoom platform.
I understood about 3% of what you just said.
Were you thinking of DigiCert?
DigiCert is one of them. I will actually do a quick little look up here myself.
Maybe you go more macro than micro so that we don't snore everyone into a coma here.
Sure. Basically, the certificate is, you have a public key and a private key. The public key on Zoom side is changing. So now any SSO servers, corporate servers that don't know that the new public key on Zoom's end has changed, won't be able to authenticate into Zoom's platform.
So a verification system so that nobody's spoofing and intercepting and pretending to be you, basically.
Yeah.
For large organizations or for everybody, but I mean, especially if you've got, lots and lots of people in your organization and you're doing identity management, this makes sure that the people who say they are someone are really that someone and have access to those services they're entitled to.
So for anyone watching, I'm here representing you. I'm representing the folks, just the little guys who have no idea what Mike and Frank are talking about. I know how to turn my computer on and open Zoom and update it. That's about it.
Even if you don't know about these things, they're happening to you as well in the background.
No, absolutely.
It's just you aren't the one who's implementing or dealing with them.
Absolutely.
The whole internet infrastructure runs on these kind of things.
Right.
Yeah, and I've been in the internet infrastructure, using Frank's word, infrastructure, since the early 90s. So that company that I was talking about was Let's Encrypt, which a lot of software will actually use the Let's Encrypt SSL certificates.
All you need to know, David, is we've got top people working on it.
There you go.
Top people.
There you go.
Top, yes. And if you don't have your top enterprise person doing that, he won't have a good Monday when he comes into work.
Yeah.
Because nobody will be able to log into Zoom.
Mm.
Well, I'm in the same boat.
What it's you and me, right?
I'm in the same boat with Rabbi David.
It's you and me, my friend. That's exactly right. God, if someone can see us and hear us, that's a great day, but certificates and SSL and that's fantastic.
If not hosting your own service, you don't really have to worry about it, right? If you're buying service from someone else, or they're giving it to you for free because you're the product, someone's doing it, you don't have to deal with it, right?
That's right.
Yes, and we hope that they're doing it well. Because there's people that don't do it well.
And the truth is, for these big companies like Zoom, like Google, for example, like Microsoft, we just trust that they're doing it well. And I wouldn't, to be honest with you, I wouldn't know if they weren't doing it well. I just, like Frank, like you said, I either pay or just I'm happy to give of myself, by way of becoming a product for them, so that they will hopefully do it well for me.
I got access to Zoom Clips this week. Yay!
Wait a second. You didn't have? Did you roll it out?
No, the type of license I have, Zoom finally approved it for people who have the same, like organizations that have the kind of education license that I have.
So that's new. But education license didn't have clips before.
No, but it's kind of it's interesting. They rolled it out as the free version, so you get 5 clips.
So it's limited 2 minutes.
To 2 minutes a piece. So I contacted my Zoom contact and said, "Hey, it's nice, but I mean, really, what can you do with 5 2-minute clips in my kind of situation?" He said, "Well, later in the year, you'll be able to buy it as an add-on, but it's going to be too expensive, I think, for us to have it as an add-on."
So that's interesting. So because if you remember last week when I got that email, the business plan, it's now going to be the pro version of that is going to be now included in the business plan. I guess they're not including it in the education plan, which makes zero sense to me. And if you want to pay for it separately, I believe it said that the add-on was $69 a year for that for that particular add-on, and that's all going to go into effect, I believe, December 8th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, sometime in December. I'm not an expert at these things, but I know that through the grapevine, I've heard, Zoom, like all companies, reviews its pricing model and its structure. And I know there's been ideas of, how they sort of went from Zoom Pro to Zoom One. You could buy Zoom One licenses as individuals, right?
Yes.
So I think there may be something similar coming to education, Zoom One for education, but I don't know for sure.
What are the differences now? What are there significant differences between what you would get as?
I don't know yet. I haven't never seen. It's only conjecture.
But I'm saying what an education license now versus say there's probably a chart somewhere. I'm wondering what an education license versus like a business license or a pro license looks like.
It depends. I mean, you can buy different components too, right? Like we don't have webinars included in ours, but some schools do. We do have webinars, but we have to buy them one by one for users.
Frank, yours was more customized though, right? It was you dealt with the salesperson directly.
Yeah, we have a sales rep and also a customer success manager, and when you go to negotiate, and you can negotiate to some extent, it's not exactly like buying a car, but I mean, there's some things in common, but you're getting a basket of services, and depending how much you pay, your basket's bigger or smaller, right?
Sorry, I'm just looking for the comparison, and I'm also looking to see the clips. Clips is actually not up. Sorry, I'm looking at their comparison page. So the scheduler was $60. Maybe because there were 2 things that we looked at last week. Maybe clips was cheaper, but I actually don't see clips up here. Maybe they just haven't announced. If I remember correctly, it was I want to say it was December 8th. Let me see what I got here. Zoom busyness. Let's see what comes up. Where is it?
I don't know if you recall last week we talked about a comment moderation tool where you could preview the comments as the media owner and then publish them. That apparently is on their list of objectives to implement.
Really?
I put in a feature request, and they
wait. Comments where? In
Zoom Clips.
Right. Oh, really? That's interesting. So
Other
Yeah.
people have made similar requests, and it's already on their action
Oh,
list.
wow. That's fantastic.
It is fantastic. It's a really necessary thing, I think.
I cannot find this email. Sorry. Is this it? Here it is. Yeah, December 8th. Okay, so the schedule is $59.99. Oh no, I was right. Zoom Clips Plus is $69.99 a year. Right. So yeah, and if you, and that's per license, I assume. Actually, maybe wait a second. Yes, sorry.
Per license, yeah.
Per license, right. So you're gonna have to pay if you're an education or enterprise, that's a tremendous amount of money.
It's very early for Zoom Clips, so I think
Yeah.
they'll probably review that, because I don't think a lot of institutions would pay. That's more than we pay for a lot of things for users for a whole year. So to have just this bolt-on service cost that much is very expensive for institutions.
I mean, it's interesting. I agree with you that the plus is too expensive, and the non-plus, the regular, is, forgive me, pretty worthless.
It's enticing you to want something is how I look at it, more like a marketing thing than a practical tool.
Right. It's a freemium. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking here on their plan. So basic. So you get the Clips Plus, you get it on all of the, basically any paid plan. On the Pro, Business, Business Plus, or Enterprise. They don't even put education up here. That's, I'm sure, a separate website actually. Education. Let's just jump to education real quick. Meetings, webinar, phone, rooms, and then all the add-ons I see. Cloud storage, large meetings. So you guys kind of started with the meeting, and then you customized it to your
that
meeting?
Education isn't what the schedule we would fall under. It's more like enterprise.
Oh, I understand. Okay, sorry.
There's healthcare, there's government, there's a whole bunch of silos for Zoom relationships.
Right. You know what they don't have up here, and this just came up for someone the other day that I was working with, that whole 10-minute break that Zoom now makes you take if you're a basic customer. So you can have a 40-minute meeting. By the way, a 40-minute meeting with 100 attendees for free, I think is a little, anyone who's complaining about that, I don't think
there is a lot of complaining about that in the Zoom community forum. People are used to getting free things, but I really believe that when you get something for free as an internet service, you're usually the product. You're not getting a product, you are the product. So
right. I think 40 minutes with 100 attendees is very generous. But in any case, they don't say up here that 10-minute intermission that they force you to take.
I think Zoom was very generous during the pandemic. Zoom was basically unlimited for many people, including education, for almost 2 years or something. So absolutely. I mean, I thought that was quite generous of Zoom to do that.
I agree, and but you know what? It's like Clips, right? It's because we all got it for free, it enticed us, and now we've all become, not in a bad way, addicted to it, and that, thank goodness, because that's how their business has been able to continue to thrive, because we've all, a whole bunch of us have now bought into one of the plans.
So a lot of people, I've read comments saying, I'm going to go to Google, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. Occasionally I have to use those other platforms, and I find them very limited and unsophisticated. But I mean, for some people, that might be better in a way. If you're not inclined towards technology, there's nothing really to click, there's nothing you can do, and that might make it easier. But for me, that's very limiting, and for a lot of kind of people I work with, we would not be able to do the educational things we do in some of those platforms with the robust set of features that Zoom provides.
It's funny. I'm all in on Google. I mean, everything I've ever created is in Google Drive.
Have you been in a Google Meet lately?
No, that's where I was going.
Okay.
I live in the Googleverse, but I try all the all the new garbage that they put out and then eventually kill 3 weeks later. I try, but I have not. That's been one of them that I just haven't found myself in.
I really, it's a matter of perspective. If you want something streamlined and simple and, configure your camera, configure your audio, and away you go, great. And there's a chat box, but I mean, I don't know. I don't find it has the kind of abilities that Zoom gives you to do, let's say, more complex and interesting things.
What about what's the other one that
Teams?
Mike? Yeah, Teams. What about Teams?
Well, there was a lot. I'll talk a little bit about this because I was part of Microsoft in Ignite this week, which was a big sort of event that Microsoft had this week. And the big three things that they were talking about was surprise, ChatGPT, aka Bing, aka the new name is officially now Microsoft Copilot.
Copilot, yeah.
So everything is going to now be a Copilot.
Which, by the way,
that's
a much better. I just have to say that's a much better name than Bing or anything else. Copilot's a good name.
Yeah, most of the people in the industry are talking about the word Bing and how Bing has gotten such a bad name because of the fact of it being their search engine of choice that now is disappearing very, very rapidly for Copilot. So basically, everything will be a Copilot. You'll have Copilot in Office. You will have Copilot in eventually Windows directly, which already in Windows 11, it's sort of there. It's going to get more there. And again, of course, you will have Copilot in Teams, which is, of course, them catching up to Zoom. And also another big thing that came out of the Microsoft Ignite now is that Teams now offers avatars. Just now. Just this week. Finally. And also
the same kind that, sorry, do you mean like I can turn myself into a squirrel on the screen or
yes.
Do you mean when my camera's off, that avatar?
Well, to be fair, I don't know that answer, but my official answer would be that they haven't had avatar functionality at all yet until now. So that's how far they are behind just as that. And they also are doing the 3D. They've now implemented, now that they're doing the avatar stuff, now they're implementing the 3D, room. If you want to do like a boardroom, like we were talking about many months ago, you could actually have a virtual room, and they're only doing the body from the top down to the so basically it's just the top half of your body, no legs, but yet you can walk around.
Isn't that like, that's not, I was going to immersive, what's it called in Zoom? Mm-hmm. Immersive whatever.
Yeah, it's similar to, again, them catching up to that. Now they're doing that functionality as well. That is, I'm trying to remember the actual site for that, but yeah, that is coming soon. I believe that now. I don't know if they're releasing that yet or it is as of this week, but very, very interesting Microsoft Ignite event this week, because again, of course, who did they invite? That was a big draw for me personally, was that the CEO of Microsoft was on the same stage as CEO of NVIDIA. And they actually came up with, now they've built twin computers that basically, these twin computers are identical in hardware, but one lives at Microsoft and one lives at NVIDIA. And they are basically AI computers. Let's be very generic and say that.
The
There is
second,
more.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Frank.
The second link I put in the chat, David, you might want to look at that. That's Microsoft's page regarding this topic.
Yeah, if you want to show everybody, is that the? Yeah, there you go.
A new era has arrived.
Yeah, Copilot. Got to have the echo. But yeah, that's basically what is happening there. So over to David's screen and all, so you can see.
I'm still not sold on that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I use AI. In fact, I used it this week. I had really the only thing that I use it for. I use it for writing stories because sometimes with my kids here, I want to come up with a funny story, so I'll use it for that. And I use it almost every single week to help me figure out a complex formula to use in Google Sheets. If I want the sheet to kind of automate something, if this box is checked in the sheet, then I want X or Y to happen. I use it to write those formulas. Other than that, I'm positive that it will be incredibly impactful. I don't know. Just haven't done it.
So last week, GitHub Copilot was also announced as well. So it is now basically, and again, over the last week or two as well, OpenAI guys have actually come up with a way that, so everybody, when you're actually you could actually make your own GPTs now. So you could actually make your own customized GPTs out of their infrastructure. And basically the customized GPTs have enough brain. You can basically teach it what you need it to learn. So if you wanted to be very specific, in Microsoft's case, they'll have a GPT that is Office based. So it will be the ultimate customer support portal for assisting you. So it's basically taking the help section of the software on steroids, where you could basically, instead of actually going to like a live chat person you'll get automated responses, it'll actually be ChatGPT's engine that has the Office database of FAQs and community and all that stuff built into it, so that it can co-pilot you when you're using Office or any of the Microsoft products.
Yeah, the GPTs, those were announced the week before, weren't they? At the AI,
Correct.
At the OpenAI.
Yeah, and basically that's what Microsoft is basically going to be building is mini. Don't want to call it mini because it's not really mini, but mini GPTs,
right? Which
are focused on, I only do this, and I am only going to offer you this as a service or as a co-pilot. In this case, for Microsoft, where companies, when they actually would generate the GPTs for themselves, again, that becomes a SaaS, right? Software as a service. So again, I've actually been approached by one company that actually will do all of our online customer support as long as I feed it. It's my own customized GPT, and I would just have to dump all of our manuals, let's say, for all our products into it. And it basically then becomes, oh, what are you having a problem with today? And then it would take away some of the first level support away. And then you would just have my first level guys now be second level. And now you got a GPT that's actually answering all the first level.
And do you know what the industry term for that is called? It's deflecting.
Right.
So that you don't have as many human service agents, having to talk to human beings and help them. You try to get the GPT or whatever to do some of that first line response, so you don't have as much investment. But so far, quite often I hear for a lot of those systems, people aren't happy with, if you don't know the precise vocabulary, you don't get the right answers. So you don't know what you're doing, and you come to a system that's supposed to help you, and you don't say the right trigger words, and the system. So, I mean, I think it still has a long way to go. I mean, it's exponentially changing and getting different, but there's still a lot of dissatisfaction with those kind of systems for
But I
customer
wonder if-
service anyways.
I wonder if
Right.
being able to build custom GPTs though would address some of that.
Yeah, I was hearing about GPT-5 coming out, I guess, pretty soon. People have early access to it and pay quite a bit of money to get early access, but
Really?
it's such an evolving thing. Like, I'm certainly not an expert, but it
Yeah.
seems to be invading or pervasive in all aspects of technology right now. If your
Yeah, so
company
it's-
doesn't have GPT, you don't have anything to market this year, right?
Yeah, it's or AI related. But again, AI has been around for many years, even though it's just become popular because of Open AI doing the Chat GPT stuff. But what I will say is with the GPTs, again, it becomes, you become in a situation where now you're basically unlimited at that particular point, because if you can customize your own GPT and take it away from a Chat GPT, because again, the Chat GPT has got, and I won't use the term everything, but that's about the best word I could say generically. Chat GPT has everything, but you customizing the GPT down to just your content or certain content that it already knows will allow you to then, pigeonhole that GPT to a specific technology, a specific topic, a specific, it wouldn't necessarily, it takes away a lot of the negativity that Frank is talking about when it comes to a lot of these, first level support in the chat. And then if you really need to talk to somebody, then we'll send you over to that person. Yes. But again, ChatGPT is, as long as you feed it the right information, of course, into the GPT that you would customize for yourself, then and only then, if there's anything above and beyond that you haven't, then of course, it's only as smart as the data it's got.
So does that mean I can attend less meetings and send my avatar and it'll know what I want to say and I don't have to come to the online meeting? I'll pre-program it to act like me and I don't have to attend as many meetings.
And you can actually have it remember everything that as long as you did the GPT properly, so that the data that was getting talked about in the meeting then gets saved.
So your avatar and my avatar can have a meeting and we don't even have to show up. We'll just get a summary when it's over.
In theory, yes. And you could actually have the GPT actually send you the summary.
And I'll go sit on the beach, right?
Yeah, no.
No, Dave? No, we went
Yeah.
too far?
I agree. No.
That's the definition of a meeting that didn't have to happen. If that's how the meeting is happening, to me, at least.
Doesn't the stock market and a lot of things work like that with flash transactions and things that are pre-programmed to sell or buy when the circumstances meet the criteria of the person who programmed it? I mean, aren't transactions happening in microseconds every day by AI?
Sure. But transactions or microtransactions aren't about, well.
So you've told an AI, here's my value system, here's what I believe in, here's what I want. Now go, when the criteria is right, do the things that I've told you I value. Couldn't you do that as an extension of a meeting?
Yes. Yeah, you absolutely could. I think that where I'm coming from, and maybe to bring this kind of back to Zoom, is that for me at least, the real appeal and power of Zoom is in the connections that it allows me to make with people all over the world. Connection being the key word there. And so as soon as it's fine if it's used for other things that aren't about connection, but for me, for my use case, and I think the real power of Zoom lies in its capacity to create opportunities for connection. And having avatars and AI is great. But when it begins to detract from the core value, that's when I think it becomes a hindrance more than a help. But again, I don't mean to suggest that just because for me the core value of Zoom is connection, I don't mean to put that on Zoom. They may have their own core value, but if that is at all important to Zoom or any of these platforms, then I think it's important to create tools that can help us streamline, that can help us be more efficient, that can help us be more effective, but just to be very aware of that they also can gnaw away at that core value proposition. I mean, that's certainly why Zoom got to where it is, because people needed to stay connected at a time when we could not physically be together. So that's all I'm suggesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that was definitely a big use, especially during the lockdowns. Absolutely.
So I think
So-
one thing I value for Zoom, hello, is that Zoom has created a lot of its own large language models for Zoom Companion. So I think that's a good thing that they've created their own. I think it protects us in some ways. Zoom's been very transparent about how they're using it, and they don't use the meeting details, your voice, your recordings, to train their model. I think Zoom's been very good about being out front in that way. Whereas I don't know what Microsoft's position on that is yet, and I've asked some of my leaders in my industry to check into that, because I don't understand all the nuances yet. It's moving so rapidly, you kind of have to be an expert to keep up with it.
What else is on people's minds today?
Robert actually made a comment in YouTube. All you need is a Neuralink connection to your AI, and your AI will be doing things accordingly to your requirements and updating you and learning from your reactions with or without Zoom.
There you go. There's a real professor here.
He's just hiding on YouTube. We know you, Robert. We see you. But I found a function that I did not know about at Zoom that it was offered to our account this week. And I wanted Frank's take on this, or anybody watching. On Zoom, it is a webinar functionality that you could actually, depending on your account, actually get added to. But again, for us Canadians, we're not allowed yet, because it's beta, and B, it's not allowed to. It's only in the U.S. right now. I'm wondering
there
if
is a way to
anybody's-
get it.
Oh, all right, Frank, continue.
Well, I don't. Anyways, that's the one where on Zoom is sort of like you want to have tutorials for sale, or you want to hold classes and monetize them. Is that what you're talking about?
They gave me that option of on Zoom in my webinar section in the admin panel.
Wasn't
Which I thought
on
was
Zoom like
interesting.
a big thing last year? Not this year's Zoomtopia, but a year or so ago. I thought it was a way for people to have a platform to market meetings where you were going, for whatever purpose. It could be a yoga class, it could be language instruction, it could be whatever, where you could meet. But I thought that
On
was the
Zoom,
front,
right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was the front end, sort of, for a way where people could look for services that were delivered through a meeting sort of process, and make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, on this platform was, marketed, shall we use it? Marketed to us anyways, as if you wanted to do webinars, so not meetings, this is actually webinars, and you were limited to, I think there was a limited time frame on it with the account that we have, and it wasn't a full-blown webinar from my understanding, but it looked like, you're right, it's sort of like a public facing webinar.
Yeah. So
of some
here's
sort.
so I have it up here. So this is on Zoom. I was really excited about this when it first came out. This is on Zoom. So let's look at maximize your sales efforts, scheduled for tomorrow at 1 a.m. So the event is open to users located in the United States only. Fine tune your sales efforts. You can share it, favorite, register about this event, your event organizer. It's like a mini Zoom events, right? So if you want to register, you have to sign in. I'm not going to do that. Oh, I just lost it. On.zoom.us. Yeah, and you can charge for events, which is nice. So this is free. Look at this. There was a donate area. Yeah.
We did some on Zoom events early on with the state parks, and we did it with the donation, and it was sort of meeting light. It first was introduced during the waning years of COVID, but it clearly was, if you were a person doing yoga classes or something where you had 10 or 20 people and they were going to come regularly and they were normally paying at the door or charging their card for their lessons, this was the way to do that. For us, we did a number of events that were to fundraisers for the state parks, for particular parks. I think they started, I don't know if it's out of beta now. I think, the next iteration of on Zoom was going to, their whole events platform, but it also was a listing of them. So I think, you saw there's an on Zoom page, and I think it listed all these sorts of things that you could potentially go to. So there was a mini marketplace.
By the way, that is the sultry voice of John Edelson. We didn't get to say hello to you. We didn't get to say hello to you before.
I'm glad to say hello. I was a little late. This has been a hectic last 6 weeks for me, so I'm glad to get back in.
I hope hectic in a good way. In a busy way.
Yes, in a good way.
Okay.
The best way. I had a new grandchild, but then there were things I didn't have.
You did nothing. You did literally nothing. And yet you're going to reap all the benefits.
Yeah, that is clearly it. The benefit of laughing at my son as a new parent and dealing with changing diapers, it's priceless.
Wow. Congratulations. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Any case, back to on Zoom.
No. You would be remiss if you didn't ask him about that parametric equalizer thing that's going on in the corner. What is that?
Yeah, you're breaking the YouTube here. Robert wants, John, I love your new toy in the background, he's telling us.
Okay, now let's see. It is. It's a, can you see it? A PIX 0064. And I have it now just as an audio meter, but there's an app.
Wait, is it live? Like it's actually, wow, look at that. It's actually responding to the audio. That's cool.
So we'll all be quiet for a second. That's room noise, and there's me. Now let's let you do it.
Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's cool. That's fun.
So let me.
You know what that made me think of? Remember when we did the through office hours? We had a couple concerts. Oh, I'm forgetting his name. He's a violinist, I think. And there was this thing where lights would move on his screen based on if I would go like this, it would respond to my movement. It was really pretty wild.
Are you talking about Todd Reynolds?
Yeah. No. It wasn't Todd. It was another guy. I can't remember. All right. Sorry. Back to you, John. And your.
Well, no, it's just here. I could switch it hopefully to the audio meter. This is pixel art, so I could do all sorts of things when I was. Find one here. I got to go back up here. Let me go back to Cloud Channel. So I'll go there. So you could see I've got there's a boxing match.
How do you spell it?
It's the PI.
Frank's buying one.
PI what?
Chat.
The company is www.divoom.com.
Yeah. Mike put it in chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a 64. They make 16 by 16, I think, but this is a 64 by 64 pixel. And somewhere I have, at one point I was using this as a on the air sign, but I'm now having difficulty finding that. So let me.
It's $140.
Yeah, I think that's what I did. Don't tell my wife.
It's cute though.
So that's the panel. Do you need something else, or does it hook up to like your computer, or do you
It's
need...
hooked up to my phone, so you can
Oh, okay.
see the image that's on my phone. That's now the image that's on there. And the thing just has a USB-C cable, and it has quarter inch tripod mount, so you could hang it.
Quarter 20.
Quarter 20, thank you. And this one is let's see some new ones. How it's Christmas themes, characters.
Can you gang them together if you bought like 4 or 5 of them? Could you?
Yeah, you can. It's got an edge to it that I think would be a problematic. But now you see low. So there, I don't know if you see that picture. That's the famous art with the.
Reminds me of Light Bright, if you're old enough to remember Light Bright.
Yes, that reminds me of that also. That's funny.
And it's very sprite. If you're into graphics, sprites. If you remember sprites way back in the day.
So,
by the way, while we're playing with this, while John is pulling this up, just a quick show note for people who are watching. I am out of the country next week. And so I think we kind of, Mike, unless you want to pick up the baton for next week, since it's also Thanksgiving, at least here in America, we were thinking about maybe just taking 1 week off. I'm not sure how people feel about that, but because I know I won't be able to come.
Best thing was maybe we actually will bring this to the Discord server. What do you think, Frank? And
sure.
Let
the Canadians, we've already had our Thanksgiving.
All right. So all the
back in August.
Canadians will revolt. I'm happy to open the room. I just won't be able to hang. Okay. Sorry, John, back to you.
No, I just put the little apple up there. I'm trying to think what other things I have here. And you can see just downloads them. Let me go back.
Now I just think you're getting corporate sponsorship money because
yeah, don't I wish. Gadgets, let's see here.
Have you found a way to use this in Zoom?
Well, you can communicate to it either through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And so in that sense, I should be able, I was trying, the original goal on this, and if I could find it, was it had a really cute on the air sign. And so I was going to do the on the air, turn it as on the air, but now I can't find that. So now, but see, so I pick it on the phone. So I'll show you how quickly I do it. I'll go back to, so I'm scrolling through some of the different things, and I got to find one I think that will work well. Let me go to, there's a little emoji there. So now you're seeing that emoji jumping up and down, and I'll tap on it, and now it's sent it, and now it's doing it there.
Cool. So it's not just, again, yeah, that would make sense too. I was going to say it's doing animated as well. It's not just, it can actually do a full picture, but it'll also do animation, obviously.
Yeah. So here's an animation of an elevator door opening, and I tap on it, and time thing there, and now you'll see the elevator door open and close. I'd have to light it better for this.
We're seeing it pretty good, John. Actually, it's making it well. That one having the little brighter of a background is washing out a little bit, but it's good.
Yeah. But this one's sort of a fun one. This one's got a little parody of great artwork. But I did have a on the air that I played with, and I'm on the art page here, so that's the famous screen visual that.
And John, just for everybody out there, that's iOS. You're using Apple. You're on
The
iPhone?
Actually, today I am speaking on the Windows machine using my Ivy.
Oh, okay.
So
Very cool. Very cool. But I'm just asking about the app on your phone
the app is they have both an Android and a iOS app.
Okay, cool. So there you go. Sweet.
And I bet they'll probably do some sort of Black Friday deal, so it might be fun for people who want to figure out something they could waste their time. I mean, effectively use.
Waste their time, yeah. Waste their time, yeah, and get really cute and catch Robert's attention. Yeah.
So
and what else?
The on the air was like this. I took this. See, and the fun thing is you could take these and then make them yourself. So this one says "Do not press," and there's a button. But I had this flashing on the air. So it's fun. This is what retired professors do when they don't have enough other chores to do.
Oh, that one took a little extra, that loading. It must be a little more detailed on that one.
A little more detailed, yeah.
Okay, so it's basically got a really small memory in it. So every time you send it something, it's sending it from the phone over to the actual unit.
But that's loading new ones. Now I'm not sure how many I could load. It depends on how many pixels and how much animation. But once you load it, you could then have it cycle through them. So
okay,
so do some short messages and stuff. And you probably could do a whole page of stuff. Let's see. A group I was working with was we were doing some stuff for some school trying to get kids interested in STEM, and as you said, this is pixel manipulation like the light bright boxes. So actually, you could have younger kids actually model it on sheets of paper and then turn it electronically, and then it's shown, and they thought that was pretty cute. We were actually doing it with a smaller one of these that is just 16 by 16. And then they came out with this bigger one, and it burned a hole in my pocket. I saw it. I think I paid more than the price you looked at it. So obviously I got it early before they were discounting it.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know on YouTube, the one that John is showing us is officially on Black Friday special. Go figure.
Go figure. I might have to get a second, but no.
Yeah, I could see where when Frank was asking about being able to daisy chain them side by side, there is a bit of a bezel that goes around it. But again, if you're used to looking at video walls that have a bit of a bezel, then there you go.
All right, yes. And the problem with this one is that that's a little too much. So
should be red. Should be red on here.
Should be red. Well, we can make it red.
That's general quarters.
I feel like the Klingons are about to attack.
Oh, and Robert's letting us know from YouTube that 50% off a second unit. All right, there you go.
Wow. Hey, wait, I didn't see that. I may
group purchase.
Yeah.
With these,
we're open for business.
John, with these panels, can you plug it directly into a computer via USB or something?
No. The USB-C is for power only.
Okay. So so it has to be wireless to get its information.
Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. But actually, so what did you say? $140 now, but you get the second one free. So
the second one at 50% off.
50% off. Okay, so maybe not it's not down to the level where I can, because I got the one, I realized it'd be fun to actually have them in a row and do something, but I'm not sure I'm ready.
Yeah, again, I can see a lot of people that, especially YouTube influencers, having this in the background because they'll show how many subscribers they have. They'll flip through all that different information.
They have things setting up for doing the subscribers. This is an animation goes through license plates, so you can't probably see all of them, but there's a California license plate, and I got an error on that one. Let's see. And we're getting close to this one.
Oh, getting close to that happy hour. Yeah, there you go. Again, very useful. Again, for in this case, that would be for more bars and restaurants, but of course, but yeah, absolutely, I could see. Now, again, all these are pre-done within their system and within the app, John.
Yeah,
correct?
the app again, it's got a whole community, so you could submit an app and you could see how many likes, and you could follow various people. Here's one person who I am following because he makes some very interesting patterns, and then you could learn about it. And let's see if I go back. There's my caution sign, and there's the children at play caution sign.
Yeah, well, that person running definitely reminds me of one of my original computers. The animation on people running in the game. Tony, what do you think? Would that fit into your decor in the background?
It probably would fit, but my wife is in the same room, and I don't think she would allow me to do that.
There you go.
If no one objects, I'd like to change the subject for a second. I have a Zoom question.
I think we should. I really.
I have a Zoom question.
Go for it.
I know a lot about webinars, but not everything. But I haven't heard much about Zoom Companion in webinars. Is that a thing, or does anyone know much about? So can you get meeting summaries from a webinar, for example? Or, well, they wouldn't be called meeting summaries, but or is most of Zoom's effort centered around Zoom meetings when it comes to Companion?
I know that I was part of a lot of Zoom webinars this week, and I don't know if the host had enabled that or not, but I did not see it. That's what I can tell you that way, but that doesn't mean that that function is not there. Anybody else?
I haven't seen
I've
it.
been playing with Companion and in meetings, and it's really pretty fun.
Oh, it is. It's great.
I had a project where we were a teacher credentialing program. We were spread across the state, and we had bi-weekly meetings, and we rotated the note taking, and then we hired an official note taker. And I realized if I had Companion, I wouldn't have needed any of that. And in the meetings that I've been using Companion in, the fact that people know that Companion is running and they will be summarized, they have been more thoughtful about what they say.
Sure. So I want all that goodness in webinar. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I have not seen it as of yet in the webinars that I was in this week. And they were, unfortunately, they should have been using the web events platform because of the way that they structured everything, because they basically had us go into a meeting, then we left for a half an hour, then they had us go into another meeting, and that rinse and repeat. That's the way we did every seminar that was part of the event this week, which was Streaming Media Connect.
Well, I'm sure Zoom hasn't invested all this time and energy in creating this AI tool to not use it. I'm sure it'll probably roll out at some point in other areas of Zoom, right?
Yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't. I totally agree with you on that, especially with the amount of investment that they've done in that and getting it to do what it's doing already in meetings. It's just, matter of them just having the capabilities and coming from the server world, having the capacity to be able to handle it in webinars as well as just the meetings platform. Mind you, the meetings platform probably is their bigger business, Zoom's bigger business, but again, the webinars, again, Zoom events, then yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that would probably benefit from the Zoom phone, maybe the actual I'm trying to think of the customer support platform. Frank, do you remember the naming of the what I'm thinking of?
I was just reading about it today, drawing a blank
Okay.
at the moment.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
Zoom has a lot of business-to-business products for things like customer service and coaching and customer chat bots. Zoom has customer chat bots systems that you can use. So yeah, I'm sure it's all the AIs and all of those things, right?
Yeah, if not, probably coming soon to a Zoom client near you would be my official answer to that. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So I definitely, my biggest one this week for me was on Zoom when I thought it was kind of interesting because that was the upsell for me to get me more familiar with webinar. And then of course they want me to get the true Zoom webinar product, but it was interesting. And I, for whatever reason, did not remember hearing about that one being launched. And again, officially, it is still classifying itself as beta on the site.
One new feature that's sort of recent, it's not brand new, but sort of new for Zoom, and it applies more for people who do Zoom administration, is there's a functionality now in Zoom for new features to set timers to activate them automatically. So you can say, Zoom whatever comes out on January 1st, make it go live. So you can configure the way you want the server to behave and how the service behaves, and you basically can pre-approve it for a set time. So I've been looking at that this week quite a bit.
So it sounds like they're rolling out more deployment capabilities.
Yeah, right now, for the last couple of years, what we've had to do is we have a spreadsheet and we have meetings. And we say, when do we want to turn this on? And then lots of times, because of the way our business cycle works, classes start on such and such date right after the Christmas holidays, winter break, whatever you want to call it. Somebody will, on their day off, go in very early in the morning or very late at night and turn new services on, so that when everyone comes to work that day, they're there and we don't change things in the middle of the workday. So now you can basically set a timer and automate that, which I think is really useful.
Yeah. Again, it's on the programming end, I can understand that it took a little bit to do that, but again, as long as it's using the local clocks and such, you could, it becomes just that.
It's called, the actual name is called Feature Release Controls.
Nice. Okay.
So,
but again, but that is more on the, shall we call it,
admin.
enterprise side, right? Or is that?
I imagine it depends on your license, but I don't have access to non-enterprise accounts, but I imagine, I don't know, do you have your own Zoom account where you're the sole user but also the administrator? Maybe you could go look. It's in account management. So what it's it's basically a controlled release. This disables and locks new features for a set period of time before they are automatically released. During this period, you can manually enable or disable specific features. So very handy little, if you want to call it a utility or service for people who do Zoom administration. So that was something I noticed a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't have time until this week to sort of start playing with it.
No, again, that's sweet for you too, because of the fact that it allows you to then test the feature for a couple of weeks as well.
I think, again, if you let me screen share, I think I can show this without giving any confidential information away. But
Yeah. Is it blocking you to do that? I think.
no, I didn't know if I didn't try.
Yeah,
So.
I think.
All right, I'll just show it
do.
real fast.
Okay.
I don't have anything configured yet, but so you're in your admin, account management, feature release controls. You turn it on, then you can set the time: 30 days, 60 days, 180 days. There's reminders before the automatic releases go in. So if 180 days in advance you decide you're going to turn something on, then you forget, it'll remind you that this thing's about to happen, which is good. And then what happens is, as Zoom creates new features for admins, it'll populate a list, and then you can go through the list and select the things that are relevant to you or that you find value in, and you can set them up, and then it'll happen. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really cool. Would anybody in the group actually use that functionality or not? Or now that you know that it's there, would it be more something that you would implement? I'm not sure if anybody is as large as Frank and I would on the Zoom that have multiple employees. Or go ahead.
I think if you had a big business, corporate type environment, maybe, but other than that, I probably not. For smaller operations. It's just my opinion, though.
Well, that makes complete sense. If I was only worried about my own Zoom account, I would turn everything on as soon as it was available, because I like playing with stuff. The way I do that is Zoom has something called sub accounts. So I have a sub account which I kind of use as my development area, and that's where I go try new features without inflicting them on the rest of the people in my organization. That way I'm not disrupting anyone's business use workflow or anything, because in the sub account I can change any setting I want and it doesn't impact the main account.
On our campus, we do that sub account. That came out of a time, the early days of course management systems, where the IT department automatically turned on a course we were using, I think, Blackboard at the time. And so the faculty didn't request it. There was one created for every student on the campus, and it enrolled the students who were in that class. And at one point, somebody asked a question, and the professor and another student said, "Oh, don't worry about it. That's all in our Blackboard account." And the professor said, "Well, we don't have a Blackboard account." He goes, "Yes, we do." And they changed it to that they don't turn things on without request. But as Zoom was adding quite a few apps, so there were people who were requesting to be added, and they wanted to put it through the whole campus, so they did a sub account. But I like the idea of being able to, organize when you're going to turn them on, if I were an admin. But our admins has used that ability of doing a sub account to those early adopters.
Yeah, sub accounts are very powerful. If you're in a situation where you have different business units or different groups of people who need Zoom to function differently, or maybe you have rules about certain businesses can't do certain things or certain users can't do certain things. Let's say you're a big university and you have a school of medicine, a school of law, a school of something else. You can set up the sub accounts and just put the people from each particular school in a sub account, and their sub account means that their Zoom situation will work what's best for them, and it'll be different than the way Zoom works for, let's say, the School of Medicine. Maybe they want different features enabled or disabled. You can also do that with groups in Zoom. Zoom has the ability to create groups, and then groups can have different privileges as well in Zoom. And then, of course, there's roles, but roles are a little different.
Yeah, very, very cool. Okay, so from the production world side, I will keep us on the Zoom track, and I will let everybody know that as of this morning, Australian time, aka 18 hours ago, there's the latest beta of vMix has come out, and it is vMix. So they're at vMix 27. So vMix 27.0.0.50 is the release information, and there's actually a few modifications that they did to vMix itself and making adding some functionality to vMix and such. They changed the Zoom setup window with connect and save for later buttons. So now what was a bit of an issue that I noticed is for that functionality was that you would hit OK and you wouldn't actually know if you were if the OK meant that you were connecting to the Zoom meeting or not within vMix. So now they actually changed it to connect to connect, and actually it does connect at that particular point. And then the save for later buttons, save for later is that it is related to saving your information in the profile, your vMix profile, so that you can later call up that meeting information in there already. So you can actually now, you don't have to re-input it all the time, which was a bit of a pain that was in the older versions. They added better indicators when the meeting fails due to incorrect or invalid meeting ID. So that one is obvious. But there was a bit of problems with that. So you had very little response when you were connecting. It just said there was an error. It wasn't actually giving any proper information. Now I've actually tried it quickly before the meeting, before we were on today, and it actually did come up with the actual error message that is coming back from Zoom servers of why you either did connect or didn't connect. So we're getting proper information within vMix now when it comes to the if the meeting does fail or not. Meeting IDs will now show first in drop-down list in the Zoom setup window. So now that will increase as you do different meeting IDs in there. Adding multiple Zoom inputs during a meeting will now take much less time due to no longer needing to check the server each time a new input is added. So again, now what they were doing in previous betas is every time you wanted to add an input, they would actually check the server for the list and such. Now they're just basing it off of the main connection. So they were being a bit redundant every time you added an input. So now they've taken that away and it'll be coming from the main list all the time that they have when you initially connect and as people come in. There was a fix done for Zoom Manager inputs not matching the order in vMix. I didn't run into that myself, but that was a complaint that was in the community that was fixed. And fixed issue where Zoom original sound for musicians did not turn off echo cancellation. So as we know, that is a big deal, especially when we turn on original sound for musicians using the Zoom client. So that was an oopsie in the last beta that's been now fixed as well. So that is for the latest version of 27.0.0.50. So anybody have any questions about that? I guess not at this particular point. If you're a vMix user, then of course that was important to you. And as you can see, vMix is growing and growing even more when it comes to their way of implementing Zoom into their ecosystem. So the next one that I wanted to talk about, which is the one that I found out this week about, and I wanted to let everybody know, is that if you guys are fans of, again, software video switcher, so the next competitor that was talked about at Zoomtopia, as a matter of fact, was Telestream's Wirecast. So if you're familiar with Wirecast, again, that's for the Mac as well as Windows. In their latest versions as well, and they just released one earlier this week, if not, yeah, it was on Monday, as a matter of fact, their latest version. And in that version, they now have implemented Zoom. So Zoom is now in there. And I was very pleased to actually, if you look at any of the Streaming Media Connect archives on YouTube, There was Shane from Wirecast that actually did a quick little demo of Wirecast. He didn't actually connect, unfortunately, to a Zoom meeting during his demo, but I did actually ask him a very important question, which was because I know vMix, in their vMix social, they allow the Zoom meeting chat to be brought in to vMix as text. I asked if Wirecast has done that as of yet, and the answer I got was basically no at this particular point. Now, knowing the people at Zoom, they would be necessarily limiting that from Wirecast, but they just haven't had a chance to implement that
Yeah,
yet.
I'm
So
sure
that-
it's part of the SDK. They just have to take advantage of it and write some code, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been told from our from the from the Zoom people. Absolutely. So that the Zoom implementation actually came into version 16.0.2, and they just did that was basically just before Halloween. That came out in late October. So they've finally now implemented that into the Zoom or into Wirecast. Okay, and then of course this week as well, if there's anybody out there that is into OBS, OBS 30 has been released. 3.0. It came up with some new functionality as well, especially how you some of the big features was related to how you stream to YouTube. From they've now added a YouTube live control room panel when streaming to YouTube. So that was about a lot by the interesting by the YouTube influencers that use OBS, and as well as a lot of the gaming industry love that new functionality now that you actually have the panel in the actual interface of OBS. OBS at this particular point, I'm not seeing anything Zoom related, but I did want to let everybody know that there is a newer version of OBS. So this is a major revision to version 3.0, and there was a lot of fixes that were done. So if anybody was having any OBS version 29 problems, then I would definitely suggest you upgrading to OBS 30. And I think, Pete, if I'm right, you and I have talked about OBS, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Sorry.
No problem.
Um,
So, yeah, so
it works good. And I don't want to drift too far, but I'm trying to figure out something on it, but it's not really Zoom related, but you
Right.
could use it to support a Zoom meeting.
yes, absolutely. Yeah,
down the
you could
road,
definitely
so-
use the output. Again, the virtual camera that's built in. So again, that could be used as a virtual client or as a virtual camera within Zoom. You would just have to tell Zoom, the Zoom client, to do that, which then will give you a lot of extra video capabilities.
I've actually used it two ways. I've had Zoom come into OBS, then OBS to broadcast. Then I've used Zoom to broadcast with OBS supporting just content going into the Zoom meeting. So it can work both ways pretty good.
Right, right. And again, there's a lot of different ways of doing it and going. Again, you could always, which is I've still seen a lot of the broadcasters will still do, which is they will actually still do screen scraping when they, there is other technologies to be used. I'm still seeing that being done. So again, we're far more advanced than even a lot of our broadcasters up here in Canada officially. And of course, Frank's going to start laughing at that, of course, because he knows that too. Yeah, so when it comes to that, that is the current situation when it comes to OBS. Anything else? Those are the main things that I wanted to talk about today. Now that David has,
We need a name for this segment, Mike's Tech Roundup or something.
Definitely.
There you go. Again, I don't mind going to that, technical level if we want to, take the Zoom test kitchen to the sort of streaming test kitchen.
Now over to Pete with sports and weather.
Yeah, with the new funky, and we did catch the new microphone, by the way, Pete. We're not letting you get away with that.
Oh, my Shure 55 SH here.
Yes, sir. And we're definitely seeing the IV cam watermark.
Yeah, because my desktop camera dies every once in a while. I don't know why it does that. So
Technology.
brand new camera too.
Uh-huh. Understood. Okay. And we look like we're fairly.
What kind of camera was it?
Yep. Pete, that was a question for you. What kind of camera is it? Oh, you're looking? Okay. Yeah.
I'm looking. Amcrest?
No.
Hmm.
Not
Yeah.
familiar. Looks, the form factor's familiar.
Yeah.
Could be rebadge something else.
I think I got some complicated switches and buttons here, so that's probably why.
Yeah, that, it never fails. It never fails. Good old IT stuff. It never fails. The more complicated, the more bubblegum and duct tape, the worse it gets.
So I feel like we're in a holding pattern for Zoom. There hasn't been a huge amount of news or noise, but
News and noise. Yeah.
I sort of think Zoom has sort of a release thing where at the end of each quarter there's a big update, and we're getting near the end of this quarter. So maybe in the next few weeks we'll see something bigger than sort of minor, modifications and patches and security updates. Maybe we'll see some more heavy materials coming our way, but I don't know.
Right. Yeah. The latest thing that's in the Zoom releases, of course, is what we went over earlier, which was with the November 19th releases, but they did not, like they did a couple weeks ago, actually give us a couple extra dates.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
We'll see what happens before, the end of the quarter. But
yeah, they might be, and again, it's not abnormal too that they're trying to get everything in within, doing a hard cutoff because they know people are going to start going on vacation for Christmas and such. So chances are, I would myself, and again, I don't know, I have no inside information, but I would think that once the first week of December starts coming along, I think it's going to be scarce then until the new year.
We put out a monthly newsletter, and some of it's about changes to our technology we offer. And I'm always asked for what's new with Zoom. And I haven't been able to say anything much recently because most of Zoom's efforts have been a bit around the Zoom companion stuff recently. And we haven't turned that on yet because we're still evaluating privacy and security considerations. So I don't want to talk about that because there's no point in getting people frustrated that there's a new thing they can't have access to yet. So basically, I've been saying there's not much of significance. Zoomtopia gave us quite a bit, and then it's sort of that time of the year, right, where there's a little bit of lull in the action. So
yeah, absolutely. John, did you want to talk about the Ivy product? How you've been liking it before we wrap up?
Assuming he's still there.
But yeah, as we wait for John's reply on that, I'll just say that yeah, definitely come find us on Discord. We definitely are on there. Unfortunately, I found out from Robert that the link I put in there, YouTube is blocking it, so that's unfortunate. But
where did we land on American Thanksgiving? Are we going to have a show or not have a show? I'm happy to show up. I don't know I think some people think everyone's going to be busy with family, but sometimes people aren't busy with family during holidays.
I'm not. I'll be around because most of my family is so spread out around the U.S., then it's like Thanksgiving weekend is too short of a time to go visit them. So
Right.
I'm around.
And if the American government shuts down traffic, flying and stuff could be a nightmare. I don't know if that's has there been any movement on, I don't know about American politics, but did they sign any kind of?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to them.
Well, so anyways, the last day or two I haven't been paying attention, but if the American government doesn't have any money, then travel could be impacted because the federal people involved in making sure travel is safe and regulated wouldn't be around to help with that, right?
Absolutely. And of course, that will be us broadcasting on Black Friday too. So that was another thing that I brought up to David and Ray, was the fact of maybe talking about maybe Zoom related Black Friday specials, maybe too. We can always talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah,
But,
it's a good day to stay home and not go to the stores.
and to shop online.
Yeah. Do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
I don't really have too much of my wish list for, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, again, Frank and I proposed it to the group, so everybody watching, come to Discord and we can
talk about it in Discord.
We can talk about it in Discord, and we'll see if we're available next week. And of course, if
hopefully
we are,
Lois or some other people show up. I always like when Lois shows up and brings us interesting problems to solve.
We should, I mentioned it, I think once, but we should maybe try to rebroadcast this in Discord at the same time.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never tried that. Does our server Discord, I don't know what they're called, power-ups or whatever, do we have the right power-ups to do that? You know what I mean? You buy Discord boosts or something, and then you get more functionality?
yeah, I don't know, because the original room was Jeff started the original room, so I don't know that official answer. I know David, Ray, and I have taken it over, but
we'll have to have a Zoom test kitchen bake sale or something to raise some funds to do that. I think that's my wife. Over at Office Hours, I know their Discord's got quite a few features enhanced through probably generous people helping put some money towards some of that functionality, right?
yeah, absolutely. I know that there was some, again, we could always try to do a little bit of functionality as well, like Office Hours, where we could actually do an audio only portion. But again, if anybody does have any suggestions of how we can improve our weekly show, then by all means, that's where Discord is definitely the place to go, and let us know your thoughts.
Speaking of baking, I just saw all kinds of baking materials walk by me. There's a pan mixer and eggs and all kinds. So there is baking going on.
None for you.
None for me, though, apparently.
So there you go.
So, like I said, since we had our Thanksgiving in August, with the traditional kissing of a moose and drinking maple syrup, we don't have Thanksgiving next Friday.
Yeah. Again, yeah. So officially, yeah. So again, officially, Thanksgiving is Thursday, and
Thursday then.
Yeah, and then Black Friday, and then of course Cyber Monday. Yes, we do celebrate that in Canada. The Black Friday and Cyber Monday. As I was mentioning to Ray and David about that yes,
and Regret Tuesday.
And Regret Tuesday, which is that all of a sudden we have no money in our pockets. You got it. We regretted all the things we bought. Okay.
Spent all my loonies and toonies.
Mm-hmm.
I got the video of us on Discord. I'm sharing the screen, but I don't think I got the audio going over yet.
Well, before you get the audio going, why don't you give us a screen share of what that looks like?
I'm already screen share. If you can pull up your Discord for Zoom.
Oh, I meant like screen share in the Zoom meeting.
Oh boy, let's see. Can we do this without blowing up
Well,
the computer system? Yeah.
Zoom test kitchen
yeah.
blow up test.
Yeah.
Zoom. Yes.
Share.
There we
Can
go.
I? Let's
Yeah,
see.
I've allowed anybody in the meeting to share.
And starting next week,
That's
look for
it.
me on my own channel called Zoom Test Lab. No.
All right.
Oh, yeah, you're good. We got you. Pete.
Okay. So interesting. Okay, I'm like double sharing screens here on 2 platforms. I haven't. I gotta do a patching for the audio into Discord, but I got the video into it right now.
That's pretty neat.
Very cool.
I never tried that. All right, I don't know. It's doesn't seem like we have a lot to talk about today. Maybe we'll end early. What do you guys want to do?
Yeah, sounds good to me as well. Thanks everybody for showing up and are watching on YouTube as well. Robert, Ray, Frank, of course, John,
Yeah, of course.
Pete, and
So
take care, everybody.
If Thanksgiving is next Thursday, happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends, and if we see you, good. If we don't, have a great long weekend.
I should
Yeah.
be there.
Great.
All right.
Well, I'll pop
care.
in. If it's happening, it's happening, right?
YouTube, thank you for watching on there. And we're now going into a bit of